Now on Coast TV News.
The rainy stretch is underway for Delmarva. Expect more showers today, then heavier rain tonight with thunder possible, then lingering showers the rest of the week and some storms as well. I'll track it on Futurecast coming up next.
Delaware school decision. Today is the day when voters determine the makeup of their school boards. We break down the key races and what you need to know before heading to the polls.
Taking on tents, Ocean City could be open for regulating the popular fixture on its beaches.
Fenwick Footpath, the sidewalk plan along Route 1 that is up for debate in the coastal town.
This is Coast TV News Today.
And it is Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. Good morning. I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us for our 5 o'clock hour.
Yeah, polls are going to open in about 2 hours. We've been talking about those Delaware school board elections, a big day for schools all over the state.
Absolutely. And if you're heading to the polls, you're going to want to bring an umbrella and a rain jacket.
Sounds like it, yes.
Because it was drizzling this morning as I was walking out to my car. And Bob told us this yesterday. He said, enjoy yesterday because, Bob, from here on out, we've got some rain in our forecast. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning, Elisa and Matt. This is the beginning of a rainy stretch for Delmarva. And Elisa, you took the words right out of my mouth. Make sure you have the rain gear ready to go because we're seeing showers overspreading the area from south to north. We're seeing the showers across Sussex County right now. Nothing all that heavy, but 13 is wet. Highway 9 and Highway 113 as well. And then back to Salisbury, Ocean Pines, you're wet too. And the Eastern Shore is seeing the showers. And you start seeing yellow indicating maybe some moderate rain, especially across areas of eastern Virginia. So even some pockets of heavier rain moving in with a lot of moisture moving in from the south. As we're watching low pressure back to the west, you can see all that rain moving through the Carolinas and right up the coast. It's mild and muggy out the door. 64 Salisbury, Millsboro, 64 in Georgetown, 61 in Rehoboth. And temperatures not moving that much today because of an onshore flow, which is already beginning. A light southeasterly breeze, but that will pick up with time. So we're in and out of the showers pretty much all day, and we're pretty much stuck in the 60s. If you get a break, a little bit of sun, then lower 70s. Otherwise, we're in the rain pretty much all afternoon, and you can see the wind start to pick up, get a little gusty as we go into the evening hours. So all in all, this kind of a dreary day. Watch for ponding on the roads with the rain all day. Maybe some minor flooding. I'll have much more on the rain and talk about, well, just how much we could see and track it on Futurecast as well coming up a little bit later on.
All right, thank you, Bob. Our top story this half hour, today's election day for school boards all across Delaware. There are 11 school districts across the state with people heading to the polls today. Now, for Milford, Delmar, Laurel, and Seaford, there are no contested races in those districts, so an election is not necessary.
And there are 2 contested races in the Cape Henlopen School District. Incumbent Bill Collick is challenged by Chris Levenguth for the at-large seat in District C. That includes parts of Lewis, Midway, and Points Southwest. 3 candidates are on the ballot: Patty Mall, Laura Parsons, and Andy Lewis. And at a recent forum, here's what the candidates who had to say about the cost of an increasing study enrollment.
Want to make sure that we're doing what we can to make sure that our schools are properly funded. You look down the road, we're going to have to look at property somewhere simply because we don't simply, we're going to have to build more. We just are.
So we have to be upfront with the community to let them know what the money's going for, making sure that the money is processed towards the students so the students get a quality education.
We must depend on our local county council to help us by imposing an impact fee for all new builds so that when we are in the situation that we are in now with not being able to pass a referendum, we can count on the impact fees.
Referendums tend to be only voted on by a small minority of the population. I believe that if these processes were something that occurred more frequently and done in a different way, then the rate of increase would be smaller and better accepted by the community.
And Lewis did not attend that forum.
Yeah, Cape is one of 3 districts in Sussex County with contested races. For Indian River District 1, that's an area that includes Georgetown, incumbents Lisa Briggs and Kelly Klein are being challenged by Derek Booth. And in Woodbridge, Timothy Banks and Latoya Harris are on the ballot.
In the Cape Henlopen School District, locals can head to one of these several polling locations you see on your screen right now. They are Cape Henlopen High School, Mariner Middle School, Rehoboth Elementary School, and Rehoboth Fire Company Station 2.
And in the Indian River School District, these are the polling places open today: Georgetown Elementary School and the Department of Elections on South Bedford Street. And again, with voting taking place today, we checked with the Delaware Department of Elections. Here are some key pieces of information that we found. You must show proof of identity and address, which includes a Delaware driver's license or ID card. The deadline for absentee ballots, that is tonight at 8. Polls, again, are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
And now, who is eligible to vote? According to the Delaware Department of Elections, you must be a U.S. citizen and live in Delaware. You must be at least 18, and you can only vote in the school district that you live in.
The nonprofit First State Educate, which focuses on building the capacity of school boards, talked to us about the importance of voting today, regardless of your personal involvement.
Doesn't matter if you have a child that attends public school, if you're a taxpayer in the state, if you're interested in the economic prosperity and the well-being of our communities, the election makes a big difference in all of our lives, and it's very important to exercise that vote.
Delaware school board elections taking place today. Polls open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Ocean City officials are exploring the regulation of tents and canopies on its beaches. According to documents ahead of this afternoon's mayor and council meeting, there have been complaints about the size of tents and canopies and the challenge to move around them while walking on the beach. Options for debate include banning the tents or restricting the size of the tent. Dewey Beach's ban on certain tents is part of the reference materials on this topic, and we went to Ocean City to see what locals thought of this possible change.
I would probably ban them so you'd have unobstructed view of the beach and not prevent people from walking down back and forth.
And the Ocean City Council will look at other beach towns to see what regulations they currently have in place. Officials will gather at 1 p.m. to consider this.
And looking closer at other coastal community regulations, Rehoboth Beach has a ban on tents and canopies. In Dewey Beach, the town also has banned tents on the beach. Canopies are still allowed in Dewey, but there are specific rules for them. In Bethany Beach, the town does not allow tents, canopies, tarps, or cabanas. For those beaches, small baby tents are allowed. And this brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know what bothers you most about beach tents. So let's take a look at the updated results, Elisa.
And so far, 47% of voters say crowding, 28% nothing, 20% blocked view, and 5% a tripping hazard. And we do have a comment today from John in Millsboro who says, quote, "The biggest problem with the tents is when there is wind, they become a hazard to everyone around them." And please vote and tell us what you think on CoastTV.com or over on our mobile app. And happening today, Fenwick Island and Deldat will focus on pedestrian safety. The town says it is working with the agency on a proposed project to add sidewalks along Coastal Highway. This would be from Lighthouse Road to James Street, and there will be opportunities for people to ask questions and share thoughts. Today's workshop takes place at 1 p.m. at Town Hall and on Zoom.
You're looking live at our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. However, President Trump is not in that city. He's out of the country on the first foreign trip of his second term, and he has 3 stops planned in the Middle East.
As NBC's Alice Barr shows us, the president is expected to focus on trade, energy, and finding an end to foreign wars. It comes after the last American hostage was released by Hamas.
President Trump arriving in Saudi Arabia this morning, kicking off a 4-day trip set to focus on business deals with wealthy Gulf states. The president hoping to add to the $600 billion in U.S. investments Saudi Arabia's crown prince pledged at the start of this Trump term, as critics point to the Trump family's regional investments, including a Trump-branded golf course to be built in Qatar by a Saudi Arabian firm.
They're padding their pocket with deals with foreign countries.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle also objecting to an offer from Qatar, where President Trump is headed next, to hand over a luxury jumbo jet for the president to use as Air Force One and transfer to the Trump Library Foundation when he leaves office.
I think that was a very nice gesture. Now, I could be a stupid person to say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane.
And it's not like a ride on the plane. We're talking about the entire $400 million plane. I think it's not worth the appearance of impropriety.
And just because they are doing the corruption in plain sight does not make it any less damning or sad or gross.
The White House says legal details are being worked out amid constitutional concerns, as aviation experts tell NBC News the plane would need expensive upgrades and a dismantling to check for listening devices. The Middle East trip comes amid emotional celebrations over the return of the last known living American hostage after 584 days in Hamas captivity. 21-year-old Adon Alexander, a dual U.S.-Israeli citizen, freed in a deal between the Trump administration and Hamas that largely bypassed Israeli leadership. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And we're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News today.
Yeah, coming up, food trucks return. We have the impact of this returning event in Georgetown.
Also, Delaware development considered. We'll tell you what one project in Ocean View is asking for in front of the Sussex County Council today.
But first, waterworks in Georgetown, which areas the town says will undergo flushing today. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
It is exactly 5:13 on an increasingly wet Tuesday morning. Bay Health Cam and Dover looking dry right now there, but rain is heading your way, moving from south to north. We've got rain all across Sussex County. The deeper green colors indicating some of that heavier rain. Salisbury back towards the coast, you're also seeing that. Eastern Shore in the rain, and then you start seeing the yellow areas, even red areas back into eastern Virginia, and then southeast parts of Virginia. That's indicating heavier rain, and there's a lot more to come. That rain coming right up the coast as we're watching low pressure back to the west, and the rain continues pretty much all day. We're looking at temperatures out the door in the 60s, so take caution this morning and this evening. I gave it the yellow light for the morning commute. Wet roads, watch for ponding on the roads, and the same for the evening commute.
Bob, new this morning, locals will head across Sussex County for the annual Back the Blue caravan. Today it follows Route 113 to visit police agencies in Selbyville, Frankfort, Dagsboro, Millsboro, Troop 4, Probation and Parole, and Georgetown. Locals will give out snacks and thank you letters. Organizers say the caravan will most likely get on the road today at 10 a.m.
Graduation time is here, and Salisbury University will celebrate its 100th spring commencement with some significant firsts. All 207 graduate students will be hooded on stage, which has not been done by the university before. SU alumni Aaron Deal, a Maryland Teacher of the Year, and current Washington head coach Dan Quinn will speak. Commencement events take place May 21st and 22nd.
In Georgetown, hydrant flushing is happening now, according to officials. This week's crews will be in Ward 4, which includes the Circle, South Bedford Street, Route 113, and West Market Street, among other areas. People could see discolored water during that work, and the town says to run your faucet until that issue is resolved. And Goldman Sachs has lowered the chance of a U.S. recession after the U.S. and China agreed to drastically roll back tariffs. Goldman Sachs told clients that it estimates there will be a 35% chance of a recession in the next 12 months. The Wall Street Bank previously had the odds of a recession at 45%. The bank is also projecting that unemployment will rise to 4.5% in December.
The Agricultural Department has suspended live cattle, horse, and bison imports through the U.S. southern border due to the threat of a dangerous flesh-eating parasite. It's called the New World screwworm. The worm was eradicated in the U.S. nearly 6 decades ago. The Department of Agriculture said the parasite was recently detected in remote Mexican farms.
We're seeing a lot of water on the lens on the Spicer Brothers Cam in Salisbury 64. This is just the beginning of a rainy trend for Delmarva. More rain for the rest of the day. That rain could be heavy at times tonight with some thunder, and the wet conditions linger the rest of the week, but not as heavy at the end of the week. I'll track the rain on Futurecast coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Time is 5:18, and you're looking at a damp situation there in Ocean City at the canals near the Assawoman Bay. And Bob, here we go with a stretch of wet weather.
Yep, we were talking about it that, Matt, yesterday was the driest and nicest day of the week, and I think we are looking at more of that rain for several days as we're watching low pressure back to our west, and that will slowly track to the northeast, and we're seeing a moist southeasterly flow, so that means rain, I think the heaviest of which falls today and tonight, and maybe some thunder as well. We could see some downpours. I'm not expecting severe weather, but it looks like the heaviest comes later today into Wednesday morning, and the showers already overspreading Sussex County right now. Nothing all that heavy, but definitely seeing the rain and some of the deeper green indicating some maybe moderate rain around Salisbury, Ocean Pines right now. Eastern Shore, you're also in the showers. You start seeing these yellow and red areas indicating even heavier rain across areas of eastern Virginia, and it's only the beginning because we have this pipeline of moisture coming right up through the Carolinas, and that will continue to move through with showers today, and some of that will be heavy at times as we're watching the main area of low pressure back to the west, but these little spokes of energy will keep the rain chances going. Out the door, we're looking at temperatures into the mid-60s now, some low 60s at the beaches, and temperatures really not moving all that much today as we have a light southeasterly wind, but that will pick up during the course of the day. So rain likely today and tonight, more widely scattered into Wednesday and scattered into Thursday, and then more isolated to widely scattered showers and storms end of the week into the weekend. Here's Futurecast this morning. We're in and out of the showers, and we're looking at temperatures pretty much stuck in the 60s and a raw southeasterly breeze by noon, pretty much 60s and low 70s. Now, we will see some gaps in this from time to time, but kind of a raw and cool afternoon as there's more rain this evening. And I think through the overnight, that's when we have a chance of seeing some heavier rain with thunderstorms. Once again, not expecting severe weather, but maybe some flooding and poor drainage areas. And then by Wednesday morning, maybe just overcast with the heaviest of the rain gone. And we could see some breaks as we go into the afternoon hours with some 70s inland areas. And then we go through time and it's still unsettled Thursday into Friday. But I think the showers and storms are more isolated to scattered through the end of the week. And then Saturday, we've got Preakness in Baltimore. Could be maybe a few storms there, a few isolated showers for us, otherwise warm and muggy. We're looking at really no chance of severe weather today across Delmarva, except for areas well to our south. And as far as the rain goes between now and the end of the week, probably at least an inch in a lot of places as we're looking at gusty southeasterly winds that will be over 30 miles per hour at times as we go through the overnight into tomorrow morning. Paul Davis 7-day forecast, 69 with the rain today and then on and off showers and storms into Wednesday. More isolated by the end of the week and becoming muggy, 80 by Thursday and then 80s Friday into the weekend, and still a chance of storms into the first half of the weekend. And congratulations to Stanley from Dagsboro on winning a new umbrella from Paul Davis and CoastTV.
Thank you, Bob. A proposed development called Gulfstream Cove is going before Sussex County Council today. Developers are asking for a zoning change and a conditional use that would allow them to build 46 condos in Ocean View. Developers want to change this area from an agricultural residential district to an MR, medium density residential district. What that basically means is they want to change this so they're able to do more with the land. 2 months ago, it went before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and at that time, we spoke to potential neighbors about this development, and here's what one man told us.
Yeah, I don't like to see it coming in. I have no control over it. It's not my property, but I do like to see them respect, or would like to see them respect, the people who live in the area already and have established themselves.
Yeah, we tried talking to the developers as well, but they said they had no comment at this time.
Also at that Sussex County Council meeting, officials will review other important topics. According to the agenda, there will be a discussion related to school funding. This is being led by Councilman Steve McGarren. Also a presentation from the Food Bank of Delaware. Sussex County officials will gather at 10 a.m. to consider this request.
Up next on Coast TV News Today, food truck return, how long you can expect this event in Georgetown. Don't go anywhere.
Today in Georgetown, Food Truck Tuesdays is returning after a 6-year hiatus. The pre-pandemic event is coming back to East Market Street. It hasn't been held since 2019 and was put on pause after the pandemic. Food trucks will come to East Market Street and 2nd, the 4th and 2nd Tuesday between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. between May and August.
You know, when COVID hit, of course, a lot of the offices went to remote, and so now they're starting to come back to their offices, and we're trying to, get people to come back and enjoy downtown.
And again, the event will host food trucks on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays of each month from May through August, and today's event will be held from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
New this morning, road work is happening now near BB's main campus in Lewis. The health organization says this area that we're showing you on your screen is closed for concrete repair, and you can see it's near the ambulance ramp. That's expected to be closed for 2 to 3 weeks, but BB says this will not impact ambulance service.
Matt, I think I'm stating the obvious, but it's not a good beach day unless you enjoy being at the beach when it's raining.
There actually may be people who
might
fall
be.
into that category.
Yes.
I'm not one of them. Sounds like you're not one of them either.
No, and Bob, I don't think you're one of those people either.
Well, I think store owners are happy. I mean, folks could be in the stores and shopping along the beaches today with the rainy conditions. Ocean City and Fenwick Island stuck in the 60s, kind of a raw day with that wind coming off the ocean. UV index is low, waves around 2 to 4 feet. And Lewis, you're in the 60s today with that rain. Could be heavy at times, and then Rehoboth, similar conditions for you. And on the bay side, 1 to 2 foot waves on the Chesapeake Bay. Upper 60s in Cambridge with the rain and similar conditions in Crisfield, and we continue with the rainy trend, I think, right through the end of the week. But it does lessen the intensity of the rain by the end of the week, and a little muggy and warm. I'll have much more in your forecast in the next half hour.
A break on CoastTV News today. Energy bill debate will tell you why some lawmakers are calling on Maryland Governor Moore to veto a bill related to nuclear energy.
Also, new week, same concern, the impact of Representative Stell Parker-Selby's absence in the Delaware General Assembly.
In Delaware Education Decision, we'll tell you everything you need to know about the school board elections taking place today. CoastTV News today will be right back.
Now on CoastTV News.
The rainy stretch is underway for Delmarva. Expect more showers today, then heavier rain tonight with thunder possible. Then lingering showers the rest of the week and some storms as well. I'll track it on Futurecast coming up next.
School board selection.
That will really set the course for Delaware.
We break down the election day in the state and the key races in Sussex County.
Waiting for representation, people in Lewis and Milton want to know if they will have a voice in Delaware's General Assembly this week.
No from more. That is the ask by Maryland Republicans on bills set for signature that would increase fees.
This is CoastTV News Today.
May 13th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
Time is 5:30, and been talking about it all morning, Elisa. We are beginning a stretch of wet weather.
There are some positives to the rain. It's good for flowers, good for grass.
May showers bring May. No, that's.
You know what? Maybe start a new trend, and also it's good to get rid of the pollen.
Absolutely, that is a winner, Bob. That is the winner.
So you know what? We'll take the rain, Bob.
Yes, I do like the glass half full mentality. For sure. We are looking at the rain building in, and it's starting to pick up in intensity now. You can see the darker green moving into Sussex County, Seaford, Georgetown, Millsboro, maybe a little bit of yellow there near Delmar, indicating some heavy rain also around Salisbury as well. So take it slow this morning. Pack the patience out the door. Eastern Shore seeing the rain. Heavier rain across areas of eastern Virginia. Maybe some rumbles of thunder there as we have copious amounts of moisture moving right up the east coast as we have low pressure spinning to our west, and that is just rotating all this moisture in our direction. Out the door, temperatures in the mid 60s now. Inland areas, lower 60s at the beaches. Only warming a few degrees today because we have a southeasterly wind that will be picking up. It's going to be a raw day as we're looking at Futurecast with the showers this morning. And you can see for the most part, temperatures in the 60s, maybe some lower 70s if you get some bright spots and some breaks in the rain. But we'll be looking at more of those showers as we go into the afternoon and evening hours. Bus stop forecast for the kiddos, a wet one, 64 off to school, rainy and cool heading home, and 68.
Our top story this half hour today is Election Day for school boards all across Delaware. There are 11 school districts across the state with people heading to the polls today. For Milford, Delmar, Laurel, and Seaford, though, there are no contested races in those districts, so an election is not necessary.
Yeah, there are 2 contested races in the Cape Henlopen School District. Incumbent Bill Collick is being challenged by Chris Levenguth. That's for the at-large seat. And then in District C, that's a district that includes parts of Lewis, Midway, Points Southwest. 3 candidates are on the ballot. Patty Mall, Laura Parsons, and Andy Lewis.
Cape is one of 3 districts in Sussex County with contested races for Indian River District 1. That is an area that includes Georgetown. Incumbents Lisa Briggs and Kelly Klein are being challenged by Derek Booth. In Woodbridge, Timothy Banks and Leighton Harris are on the ballot.
Now, for elections like these, we looked in and we have found the eligibility requirements for voters, so let's check them out. According to the Delaware Department of Elections, you must be a U.S. citizen and live in Delaware, and you must be at least 18. You can only vote in the school district that you live in.
And in order to vote today, there are several things people need to know. You must show proof of identity and address, which includes a Delaware's driver's license or ID card. If you're voting by absentee ballot, it must be a Delaware Department of Elections by 8 p.m. And polls are open today from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
The nonprofit First State Educate, they focus on building the capacity of school boards. They talked to us about the importance of voting today.
The people who get elected are going to make decisions for the next 4 years that will really set the course for Delaware and for our young people. So knowing who's running and having expectations of those candidates is super important.
And you can find all the information that we have been talking about on our website, CoastTV.com.
A new week in Delaware's General Assembly with a continuing concern, House District 20. That is the district covering parts of Lewis, Milton, and Harbison, and it has not had representation this entire year. It is due to Democrat Stell Parker Selby's absence. She made it known she had a medical event prior to the start of that session in January and could not attend at that time. There are 3 committee meetings scheduled in the House on Tuesday, and we are waiting to see if this will be her first day in 2025 at Legislative Hall.
Happening today in Seaford, the filling of key government posts in the city. Mayor Matt McCoy will oversee the election of a vice mayor. He's also expected to appoint council liaisons. There'll be a review of renaming the Chesapeake Conservancy to Oyster House Park. And again, this meeting takes place at 7 p.m.
New this morning, some Maryland House Republicans are calling on Governor Wes Moore to veto the Next Generation Energy Act. Part of the bill states that Maryland would seek to partner with neighboring states on developing new nuclear energy generation stations. Lawmakers who are opposed say that bill doesn't offer incentives for nuclear investment in Maryland. The bill passed both chambers and now awaits Governor Moore's decision.
New overnight hasn't been smooth sailing, or should we say flying, at Newark Liberty International Airport over the past few weeks. And that includes last night, where planes were handled by as few as 3 air traffic controllers on top of recent technical issues.
CNN's John Lawrence shows us how one carrier is addressing the matter head on.
Flying in and out of the Garden State hasn't been great.
Lately, there's been a lot of curiosity about the increase in delays and cancellations at Newark Airport.
Those travel headaches are largely from recent air traffic control outages, which in some cases led to a lack of communication between flight crews and the tower. But in a message sent to frequent flyers on Monday, United Airlines says their policies and procedures can handle any problems.
It is absolutely safe to fly. Our pilots are highly trained professionals. There are incredibly skilled teams at both United and the FAA looking after you and your flight.
United officials also praised the Department of Transportation's initial plan to update air traffic control systems nationwide and boost controller staffing.
The DOT will convene a delay reduction meeting this Wednesday with all airlines who have flights at Newark. The goal is to have a manageable number of flights land at Newark.
AAA reports more than 45 million people plan to travel at least 50 miles from home this Memorial Day weekend. While the majority of these trips will be made by car, United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby says, quote, "Neither the FAA nor United will ever compromise on safety." I'm John Lawrence reporting.
And we are now taking a live look at our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. However, President Trump is not in that city. He is in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the first stop on his 4-day tour through the Gulf, the first major overseas trip of his second term. The president was greeted by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman on a lavender-colored carpet. Trump and the Crown Prince are to hold talks on U.S. efforts to dismantle Iran's nuclear program, end the war in Gaza, hold down oil prices, and more. This comes as concerns rise over Qatar's offer of a luxury jumbo jet for the president to use as Air Force One.
I think that was a very nice gesture. Now, I could be a stupid person to say, oh, no, we don't want a free plane.
And it's not like a ride on the plane. We're talking about the entire $400 million plane. I think it's not worth the appearance of impropriety.
And there have been some recent signs of tension between President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over how to approach aggression from Iran in the war in Gaza. President Trump is not scheduled to visit Israel this trip.
We have a lot more news to get to. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, Cambridge dollar debate will tell you why a former mayor is speaking out about proposed plans for a tax rebate.
Also, pushed to the brink. Capitals are now one game away from elimination. The reaction from the head coach following the Monday night loss.
In Delaware, dragonfly recognition will tell you how local students took part in creating a state symbol. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
Exactly 5:41 on this wet Tuesday morning. Tidal Health Cam showing the wet roads in Salisbury right now and the threatening skies. And the rain continues to move in from south to north and starting to see some moderate rain now southwest parts of Sussex County. So take it slow out there. Pack your patience. Seeing the rain from Salisbury towards the coast and the eastern shore as well. Heavier rain across Virginia. And there's more where that came from. Rain coming up the Carolina coast into Delmarva really much all day long. So get ready for that. Temperatures out the door into the 60s right now and not moving much today. Today's checklist: raincoat, umbrella, drive with caution. Make sure you pack your patience as well and call the Coast TV First Alert weather phone for your latest forecast.
A new state symbol in Delaware is getting ready to take flight. Delaware plans to make the blue dasher the state dragonfly. It's one of the most common and widespread dragonflies in North America. Earlier this year, students were asked to make their case for which species deserve the honor through an essay and art contest. Delaware lawmakers plan to introduce legislation in the coming weeks to officially make the blue dasher the state butterfly. And warmer weather means more people outside riding bikes, scooters, and skateboards. Cambridge is reminding everyone to follow the rules. Maryland drivers are required by law to give at least 3 feet of space when passing cyclists or scooter riders. The city reminds everyone to stay off of sidewalks and business areas and to use lights at night.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Polytech girls soccer continued its hunt for something special yesterday in the final week of the regular season. If the Panthers win 2 of their final 3 games, they'll have double-digit wins for the 3rd straight year. And yesterday they took on Sussex Tech. Early on, Emma Carey launches a long ball down the field for Sierra Henry. The junior makes the most of it, going up high to put Polytech ahead 1-0. And Carey wasn't done. This time on the corner, she swoops in, gets a deflection, and finishes. Panthers ahead 2-0. Later in the half, it's now 3-0 Poly, and Ava Gim has more to say. Uses the left foot for her second goal of the day to make it 4-0 Polytech at the half. In the second half, Sussex Tech finally breaks through thanks to Kyla Laz, battling through white jerseys and scoring to make it a 3-goal game. And they weren't done. Brianna Gabbert on the break, lasers one past the keeper. Ravens back within 2. But Ava Gim and Polytech had the final say. She barrels in her 3rd of the game for a hat trick, and that's more than enough for Polytech to win it 5-2. The Panthers continue a busy schedule tonight as they head to Sussex Central, and then wrapping up the regular season at AI DuPont tomorrow night. That'll do it for sports. Have a great day, everyone.
And coming up tonight on DSN at 4, we have high school softball when Mardella makes that very, very short trip to Del Mar. On the DSN Plus app, you get that softball game along with these exclusives. 4:15, we have Delaware High School baseball when Sussex Central hosts Caravel. The Indian River softball team hosts Caravel, and we have Henlopen Conference baseball when Del Mar visits Cesar Rodney. Heartbreak for the Capitals last night after they had pulled within a goal in Game 4 against the Hurricanes. Here it is, late 3rd, Sean Walker in the slot beats Logan Thompson. Caps are now in a big hole. They trail in the series 3-1 after losing by a score of 5-2.
We're giving ourselves some opportunities. We're just not executing, making the play, whatever you want to call it, and making some mistakes, and they're capitalizing.
And the Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, it's SOS mode now. Save our season. Caps will attempt to stay alive Thursday night in Game 5, which is back in the district.
Movie news now, plus a treat for fans of a train engine named Thomas. Here's David Daniel with today's Hollywood Minute.
When you look in the mirror, you see this rough and tumble, old school cowboy. A lone wolf.
Brad Pitt is a reluctant teammate in the latest trailer for F1. Damson Idris, Kerry Condon, and Javier Bardem also star in the racing drama. The Green Flag drops in theaters June 27th.
Did you sell your father's car to build my restaurant?
It was the only way. Okay, the renovations paying off my crew. It's the only way.
Nona's co-star Joe Manganiello says the film about Italian grandmothers cooking their traditional recipes reminded him of his own Sicilian Nona's sauce.
That sauce tells that story of where they came from. Where they came from, how they made the sauce in the old world, and then that gets passed down. And then you go and you find those ingredients, the perfect ingredients. It has to be right.
One day, Thomas was at the junction when Gordon shuffled in with some trucks.
Thomas and Friends fans can own a piece of TV history. Prop Store and Mattel are auctioning off more than 200 original models and props from the series, with net proceeds benefiting the UK's National Autistic Society. The auction runs through May 28th at propstore.com. All engines go in Hollywood. I'm David Daniel.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
80 years ago this week, a German submarine surrendered off the coast of Lewis, the first Axis surrender in U.S. waters. And our special story, Surrender at Sea, looks at how Delaware played a role in the final days of World War II. You can catch that Wednesday during Coast TV News at 6.
We're looking at a wet scenario right now on the Dry Tech Cam in Ocean City, 64, and the rain is underway, and it's going to stick around for a while too. In fact, continuing the rest of today, and it could be heavy at times tonight, maybe some thunder as well. And the wet conditions do taper off as we go through the week, but then it gets warm and muggy. I'll have your full forecast details in 2 minutes.
The time is now 5:49, and we are taking a live look outside at Salisbury this morning. And Bob, it is rainy as you drive into work. We can see that rain on that road right there. So as always, just be extra cautious.
That's exactly what I would say. At least be extra careful out there as we are seeing the rain continuing to build in as we're watching low pressure tracking up from the southwest. So today through Thursday, we have that unsettled pattern, on and off showers, some downpours and thunderstorms, especially tonight, the heaviest of which is tonight into Wednesday morning with this southeasterly flow. And we'll be watching that rain continuing to build in, which it is doing now around Sussex County, Millsboro, Gumboro, Delmarva, back through Seaford. You're seeing some of that steady rain, even some little blips of yellow indicating some heavier rain. Salisbury to Pittsville, Ocean Pines and Ocean City seeing the showers, and the eastern shore also under the gun with the showers and even heavier rain across areas of eastern Virginia. A little gap farther south on Delmarva, but Cape Charles and Point South still seeing all that moisture coming up through the Carolinas as we have that area of low pressure back to the west and spokes of energy coming up the east coast in the form of rain. Temperatures into the mid-60s from Salisbury to Redden, 65 in Milton, 65 in Millsboro, lower 60s from Rehoboth to Bethany Beach as we have a southeasterly breeze, and that will be picking up as we go through the day, kind of flinging more moisture into our neck of the woods with widespread to likely rain as we go through today and tonight. It does taper off a little bit Wednesday with scattered showers Thursday, and then more isolated to widely scattered showers Friday into the weekend, as Futurecast is showing us in and out of the rain pretty much all day long. Temperatures for the most part in the 60s, maybe some low 70s where it does brighten up a little bit at times, but we'll be looking at breezy conditions from the southeast and then another area of rain tonight and maybe some embedded thunder too, and that rain could be heavy at times. Here's 1:30 tomorrow morning with some of that heavy rain, and then tomorrow morning maybe a little break where it's just overcast and damp and temperatures in the 60s, maybe some breaks in the clouds on Wednesday with highs into the 70s. Looking forward to that, but still that shower and thunderstorm chance continues Thursday into Friday afternoon and into Saturday afternoon as well, but more isolated to scattered at that time. Not expecting severe weather across a good chunk of Delmarva, a low chance on southern tip of Delmarva as we go through later this afternoon, and could see at least an inch of rain out of the system as we head into Friday, as winds are strong out of the southeast, gusting over 30 miles per hour at times tonight into early tomorrow. Paul Davis 7-day forecast. A rain out today, 69, 77 Wednesday, some peaks of sunshine, 80 on Thursday, becoming muggy, and isolated storms I think Friday and Saturday, but definitely that summer feel with highs in the low to mid 80s. We dry it out, but still muggy and warm Sunday, 83, and then dry on Monday and a high of 78.
Thank you, Bob. In Dorchester County, there's a bit of a rebate debate going on. Former Cambridge Mayor Cleveland Rippins is now speaking out against the idea of the tax rebate being eliminated. Rippins suggested it back in 2007 during his term as mayor. It compensates property owners in Cambridge and Hurlock for services they already pay for through municipal taxes, such as policing and road maintenance. And Rippins says this is unfair.
The homeowners are already telling you how bad they're taxed. And my question is, why should residents of Cambridge subsidize the entire county?
Dorchester County is facing a multi-million-dollar deficit. County leaders say potentially eliminating the rebate is one of the options to help pay the bills.
The time is now 5:53, and we're going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
And today's coastal pet of the day is enjoying the sun on your screen. That is Zoe. As you can see, Zoe's actually this is actually after a bath there. She is sunbathing. This pretty pup was submitted to us by David and Kathy in Rehoboth Beach.
And we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
If you do that, top center, that's a QR code. Scan it, get your friends to us, and then you can watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
It is 5:56, and we're going to take another look at your forecast before you head out the door.
Bob, we have the rain, and we're just going to have to deal with it.
We are.
That's it. But, you know, as we talked about earlier, the rain has its benefits, and it will be with us pretty much all day. We'll get some breaks from time to time, but temperatures pretty much stuck in the 60s. If you see some bright spots this afternoon, maybe 70 inland, but we'll definitely have that raw feel. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. Rain today, 69. Some storms tonight, could be even heavier rain, and then 77 on Wednesday. I think we'll see some breaks in the rain, and then the same for Thursday, 80 degrees, and then a little stormy Friday and Saturday, but we'll see some sun too with temperatures in the 80s. 83 Sunday, we dry it out, then looks like more rain in the middle part of next week.
Thank you, Bob. And coming up in our next hour, school decision in Delaware. We have the key races and important information as you prepare to vote in the school board elections. All that and more when we continue with Coast TV News Today.